We boarded the first flight out of Wuhan and landed in Lhasa at 2 p.m. In Tibet, all foreign visitors must follow a pre-planned itinerary and be accompanied by a licensed travel guide. All the special permits allowing us to enter and stay in Tibet were secured by the travel agency. We were repeatedly reminded not to take videos or photos of any military checkpoints. After checking into our hotel room, we walked around and discovered a tiny restaurant where we had a delicious dinner. Tibetan specialties and must-tries include yak meat, Tibetan momos, thampa, Tibetan noodles, yak butter tea, and sweet tea.
Okay, we are eating this one. This one. We're gonna have the sweet tea. How does it taste?
On the second day, we woke up early to begin our trek to Shigatse, which only took 5 hours.
That is the road for the Friendship Highway.
Shigatse is the second largest city, sitting at an altitude of 3,800 meters. It was originally Tibet's political, religious, and cultural center, and has now become one of the most desirable tourist sites in Tibet. We explored the Tashi Lhunpo Monastery, which means heap of glory, and was founded in 1447 by the first Dalai Lama. Tibetan Buddhists believe spinning a prayer wheel is just as effective as chanting sacred texts. During our visit at the monastery, we learned that the monks have been commissioned by a family to chant for one of their recently deceased relatives. Chanting and praying are an important aspect of the Buddha's death ritual. After the person has died, the chanting continues to aid the soul's exit from the body. Some Buddhists hold religious funeral ceremonies every day for a total of 49 days. They don't believe that people go straight to heaven or hell when they die. Buddhists believe that after death, they travel through phases that lead to their future incarnation.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you.
For dinner, we enjoyed stewed lamb chops with Tibetan dumplings, fried lamb ribs, and a gigantic portion of butter-fried corn. Following the enormous dinner, we went for a stroll, expecting the nagging headaches to disappear. Hoping it's not a sign of altitude sickness. We were ready for the lengthy 8-hour bus ride to Mount Everest. As the journey began, I discovered too late that I had forgotten to take my motion sickness medication. The ride wasn't particularly pleasant for me, but Ross seemed to enjoy the scenery. Our tour guide was so lovely that at one of the bus stops hugged me and said with a smile, It's better to suffer from motion sickness than altitude sickness.
Now there's a little bit of clouds, because if the window goes up the clouds, we can see from here Everest.
When visiting Everest Base Camp, all visitors must apply for an alien's travel permit. This allows you to explore the restricted areas such as Everest Base Camp. We were also requested to switch to an electric bus, as private vehicles are not permitted to travel to the base camp. Our overnight accommodation was at the Rongbok Monastery guest house, which is located at an elevation of 5,100 meters. We were originally scheduled to camp in a nearby tent, but due to the anticipated bad weather, our tour guide immediately arranged for rooms at the guest house. Ross and I were both affected by the altitude, and each step made my head spin. Fortunately, we were able to get some rest that evening. The next morning, we brushed our teeth outside in the snow, taking in the beautiful scenery. We couldn't stomach the thought of eating breakfast, so instead we walked around. And we saw the world's highest monastery and post office, both of which are still operational. Mount Everest is the highest mountain, whose peak is 8,848 meters above sea level. At the summit of Mount Everest lies the international border between China and Nepal. Hoping to catch a glimpse of Mount Everest, but the weather changed in a blink of an eye, and we had to get back on the bus without seeing Everest Peak. And so the 8-hour journey back to Shigatse started.